Good evening and welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, November 14th, 2019. I'm Donna Mata. Tonight, we talk about the offerings at a local food pantry, provide insight on what the state's Attorney General is doing to help ease the opioid crisis throughout the state, and we take a look back on Fall River's Veterans Day Parade held on November 12th. We'll have these stories and more, but first, let's check in as always with Phil Devitt from the Fall River Herald News. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
Yes, it's good to be talking to you. I was away last week, back this week, and lots has happened since. Obviously, the election is over, but one of the top stories in the newspaper this week is the price tag that comes with trying to get a former mayor, right, Jaysville Correa, out of office. Why don't you tell us about that?
Absolutely, yeah. So, the long and short of it is Fall River taxpayers are out about $77,000. That's how much the city is forking over to attorneys on both sides for the recent legal battle, which was launched by the City Council, we might remember, to remove Mayor Jaysville Correa from office following his second arrest earlier this fall. Of course, a judge ruled in Correa's favor, saying he didn't have to step aside. Several days later, the mayor did step aside and suspended his campaign. The acting mayor, Cliff Ponte, telling us this week that Jaysville could have just stepped down before taking the council to court. These are Ponte's words, quote, "and it would have avoided spending legal dollars on this. However, he didn't after we gave him the time to do it." So even though the city council pulled the trigger on this and took the mayor to court, City Council President Ponte and the acting mayor are saying, look, the mayor had a choice here. He could have stepped aside and avoided the city having to pay all this money. He chose not to, and as a result, we're now in this position. Not a fun position to be in, of course. And just one court battle for Correa, of course, who's facing a 24-count federal indictment. He's likely to go to trial sometime next year, although we don't have an official date anymore. It was looking like February for a while, but now with the new charges, there's more information to go through. So we're keeping our eyes on that court date as well.
That's right. It was supposed to be February, but now we don't know with all those charges.
Right.
And speaking about the mayor, let's talk about the election and the certification of the votes after last week's election.
Yeah, so, we're almost, almost 2 weeks out, I think, from this election. It feels like a few light years have
Yes, doesn't
passed.
it actually? Good point.
We're living in some sort of weird time-warpy Twilight Zone kind of thing here. Of course, it's not news to people that Paul Coogan won the mayoral vote with, I believe, 79% or 10,653 votes. But there were also 1,756 write-in votes. The Board of Elections this week has told us that they are tallying up the numbers and likely won't be done until the Friday deadline. And not just the numbers, of course, but they're sorting through who these write-in candidates were, right? That information wasn't available right off the bat on election night and likely won't be ready until we hit Friday. Kelly Souza Young in the elections office is telling us that they're going through the write-ins and marking them down by hand. And then another concern here that's kind of slowing things down is that some ballots, didn't register properly in the election machines just because a bubble might have been, filled out incorrectly, or somebody might have missed the place where they were supposed to mark. So those are being hand counted as well. Certainly a lot of information to sort through. I don't envy the people in the elections office for having to go through that, but they're trying to be meticulous about it.
Well, needless to say, they've been very busy in the last few months. Plus, the machines are new, so any glitches they're going to have to deal with, obviously, as they go along. But they are hardworking folks over there. So the deadline is 5 o'clock on Friday.
That's correct. So we'll have more information then.
And moving right along, the neighborhood association in the North End, is it? Looking to get city council support for traffic problems associated with Northeast Alternatives. Why don't you tell us the update on that one, Phil?
So with Northeast Alternatives, this has been another ongoing battle here in the city. Northeast, of course, is currently the only recreational marijuana retailer in Fall River. And as a result of that, you've had some heavy traffic there for months, neighbors tell us. There's a neighborhood that sort of wraps right around the facility, which is off of William S. Canning Boulevard. And neighbors have gone to the Traffic Commission as recently as last month to say, we're having trouble with this, we can't put up with this anymore. And it's not just the traffic that's sort of the problem here, because you've got this parking lot, it fills up, then you've got cars wrapped around Commonwealth Street out into William S. Canning Boulevard. But neighbors are also complaining about odor and noise and safety issues in this now high-traffic neighborhood where children live, claiming that cars have been hit, mailboxes have been knocked over, driveways are being blocked, that kind of thing. So like I said, they went to the Traffic Commission, and then this week they also sought the support of the City Council, and the Council took a unanimous vote to bring the matter to the Committee on Public Safety, inviting various stakeholders, the City Administrator, the Traffic Director, the Director of Code Enforcement, and a representative of Northeast Alternatives to see if there are any practical, tangible changes that can be made to sort of ease the burden on this neighborhood. I drive by it every now and then at various times of day. It looks pretty busy. The street that wraps around Northeast is usually pretty jamming. And we've also received pictures from residents who have documented what they call the worst times of day, where you can actually see car after car after car waiting to get into this place. And meanwhile, residents not that far away, just trying to live their lives. So it remains to be seen what will happen there too, Donna, but at least there's some forward movement from the city government perspective.
Well, getting some support is fine, but what's the solution? It's no surprise that the traffic was going to be in that area. So after the fact, it's, okay, what can you do now? So it might be a long process moving forward.
Well, that's true. And you can sort of sense the impatience among some residents who are, on the one hand, happy to be heard by various elected officials and commissions, but on the other hand are frustrated by what they see as a lack of action or immediate action. Because you can meet all you want, but until people see solutions on the ground there's going to be a continued outcry. And, justifiably so.
I was going to say, justifiably so.
Yep.
And from pot to drug treatment, the Stanley Street Resources Treatment Center is supposed to be opening a new facility on Weaver Street, off Weaver Street, to help people who are addicted to opioids and alcohol and that sort of thing. But I hear there's some problems with the problems with the building permit, but the neighborhood there.
Right, yeah. So you might remember that the third time was the charm for Stanley Street Treatment and Resources, or STAR, in seeking a building permit for its planned Weaver Street treatment facility. But the North End Neighborhood Association is saying not so fast. Once again, the treasurer of that group telling us this week that they have sent a letter to the city building inspector basically opposing the issuance of this permit. They're awaiting his response and actually plan to go ahead with an appeal to the state if necessary. Opposition is not new. There's been some vocal opposition to this proposal for some time. Now this neighborhood association is questioning the legality of the permit now that it was denied 2 times before it was finally approved, and they're eyeing zoning as one of the issues here. And they said they'll take it to court if necessary. Of course, we might be a little ways off from that particular step. We didn't hear back from STAR on this particular matter, but they held a groundbreaking ceremony, I believe last month. It was attended by Congressman Joe Kennedy, and they told us at the time they were excited about the approval and the vision for this treatment facility as a place that will allow it to help more people. But there is contention there. And division, and so it remains to be seen what will happen next. But as of right now, Star has its permit and is looking forward to the construction of this place.
Yes, actually, our Michelle Dumas from FRCmedia did cover that event, and Joe Kennedy, Congressman Kennedy, was very excited about it, as was Nancy Paul and the other representatives and city officials that attended that. And I remember it was pouring rain, and they held it inside. So we'll have to see what happens on that front. So what's coming up in the news for the newspaper this weekend?
So we have a story going up online today, and will be in the paper this weekend on Kelly Souza Young, who we mentioned earlier, works in the Board of Elections office here in the city, and it's a really personal story. Some people might know that she has been battling pancreatic cancer for much of the last year. We sat down and got to talk to her about her diagnosis, her prognosis, her outlook. She's in remission, and she's in great spirits, and I think her story will serve as an inspiration to a lot of people. So
Absolutely. She's been very, very positive in her life, and of course we wish her well, and we look forward to reading the story. Thank you so much, Phil. You have a great weekend.
You too, Donna. Thanks very much.
Thanks. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Financial Specialist. Star Group, located at 386 Stanley Street, is looking to hire a full-time financial specialist to verify coverage for new patients and existing clients with coverage changes and inform clinical staff and managers about coverage issues. Job number 1283484. General Manager. Picture Show Entertainment, located in South Coast Marketplace, is looking for a full-time general manager to oversee the operation of the theater and supervise staff. Job number 1283370. Cook. Stepping Stone Incorporated, located at 542 North Main Street, is looking for a part-time cook to prepare, cook, and serve daily breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals for the facility. Job number 1283096. Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, is looking to fulfill the following full and part-time positions. Human Resource Generalist, job number 1282785. Shipping and Receiving Associates, job number 128258001. South Coast Physician Group, located at 300 Hanover Street, is also looking to fulfill the following full and part-time positions. MRI Technologist, job number 128299949. Social Worker, job number 128344912. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. With Thanksgiving right around the corner, food pantries are gearing up to help feed families in the greater Fall River area. One such organization is Citizens for Citizens.
Of course, holiday seasons are coming, so food pantries are very, very busy. Besides holiday baskets, people tend to come to the food pantries more often because they're trying to save their money, get ready for those big bills for the winter time. Let's be honest, heating bills are going up. Christmas is coming. They need to save money to buy presents. So, yes, we've gone from an increase about 100 families right now in a month.
Why do you think that is?
Everyone's scared. I know they say the economy is doing great, but I don't know. I can't say that I think that's true. With the influx that I've seen and the people getting scared, a lot of people have lost food stamps, so they don't have that any longer. So we've seen a significant increase.
And what food is available here?
So you can receive bags of food once every 30 days. We're open Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8:30 to 12. We have started a nighttime food pantry for working families only. That is on the first Thursday of every month from 5 to 7 in the evening. And then we also have table items. Our table items vary. It depends on what people donate, what companies donate, and we try to keep stuff on the table every single day so people can at least come once a week to get something off the table, whether it be fresh fruits and vegetables, a few odd and end canned goods, bread, pastry, whatever we have.
As the opioid epidemic rages throughout Fall River and the rest of the Commonwealth, state officials are brainstorming how to offer help and support to those suffering from addiction, as well as their friends and family. Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Healey recently visited Bristol Community College here in Fall River to listen to the stories of those affected by the epidemic. Here's her takeaway.
Every time I sit with parents and family members, I'm just reminded about how important this work is and how much more we need to do. People need easier access to care. Parents and family members should not have to work so hard to be able to get treatment and care for their loved ones. We still need reforms when it comes to insurance. We need reforms when it comes to, just the availability of easy access to treatment, long-term housing. I also appreciated and heard new ideas today for new solutions to things, and that's really important.
Does one stick out?
We talked a little bit at the end about what's happening with a couple things. One, recovery coaches for parents and family members. Having someone other than the family member do the work of providing help in navigating treatment for a loved one. The other thing we talked about is the problem that we have with so many infants being born addicted to substances, and the work that we maybe could do to address some of that on the front end. I also thought that was really interesting.
On a lighter note, the Women's Center here at Bristol Community College hosted a women's motivational speaking event featuring public speaker Ingrid Centurion, a woman from Brazil who talked about her tough childhood upbringing, especially after the death of her father when she was just 2 years old, and the mental health issues her mother faced afterwards. This is the last piece of advice Centurion offered her diverse community.
You need to say this. I can be anything I want to be. I choose to make decisions that shape my future, and I challenge myself every day. If you just leave here today with that, you will have a successful future, and you'll be happy, and you'll be challenging yourself, you'll be learning and educating yourself and experiencing new things.
A program for teenagers held at the Fall River Public Library on North Main Street every Tuesday night is a huge success. Head of Reference spokesman Taylor Silva, who runs the Dungeons and Dragons session, explains the program's appeal to his young audience.
Dungeons and Dragons is a role-playing game. It's called a tabletop role-playing game. Essentially, there is nothing in front of the players except for myself, who's called the Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master comes up with the story, which is called a campaign, and the players role play as the characters they've come up with. And they can come up with a character of anything that they want, a fighter, a rogue, a marksman, anything really that their imagination comes up with, they portray that character. We use the player's handbook to help the players come up with their characters, what they would use to get the roll to make attacks and things like that. This guy is the Monster Manual. It is the book that I go to fill my campaign with other dragons and goblins and other things that go bump in the night to make my character, my players' lives as crazy and unpredictable as possible.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Thank you for considering a homeless pet today. I hope you enjoy what you're about to see, and as always, please feel free to contact the shelter before coming down to make sure that the pets you're viewing are still available for adoption. We can be reached at 508-677-9154.
Welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Coffee. Coffee is a 3-month-old dwarf rabbit mixed with a little bit of English Spot. He is very sociable. He likes his vegetables and he likes to be handled. Rabbits have a long lifespan, more than 10 years. Rabbits love vegetables and fruit. Fruit can be given in moderation. Rabbits are great pets for kids over the age of 10 who are looking for their first pet. If you're interested in checking out one of our wonderful little hoppers, come on down to Forever Paws, 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Mass.
Today we have Spike. Spike is a 1.5-year-old lab mix. He's a stray. He is very playful, very much has a puppy brain. He is good with other dogs. He's good with older kids. He would do really well in an active home. So Spike knows some commands. He can sit, shake, and paw. Good boy. He absolutely loves balls. So if you like to go on walks or runs or hikes, he'd probably be a great dog to have with you. So if you'd like to meet Spike, come on down to Forever Paws Animal Shelter at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River. He'd love to meet you.
Welcome back. In honor of Veterans Day, recognized on November 12th of this year, the city of Fall River held its annual Veterans Day parade in the south end of the city that worked its way down to Government Center. At the end of the procession, city and state officials gathered at Government Center to give some closing statements.
Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend our freedoms and way of life. We are especially proud of our Fall River servicemen and women for their commitment to our country. Veterans Day was originally designated as a day to celebrate an end of World War I. The First World War ended November 11th, 1918, and the legislation created Veterans Day, which then created, as time went on, engaged in further conflicts with World War II. Veterans Day group lobbied for that change, and rather than honoring all those who served in World War I, the holiday would now honor all veterans from every war and every conflict the United States has encountered. We're honored to have honored our troops and their service and their sacrifice to our country. As Americans, we should encourage one another to thank our veterans, as they are the few of us who have fulfilled the patriotic duty to maintain our freedoms for our country. So on behalf of the entire citizens of Fall River, the City Council, councilors-elect, thank you to the veterans for their service to our country and the great city of Fall River. Thank you so much.
This is the one event we come to every year that the people we're honoring are the people that made it possible to do it. And that's what you have to keep in mind. This country's free because of their effort, their sacrifices, and what they gave from their heart. And I'll never forget it, and I'll be at every one of these celebrations as long as I'm involved in politics in Fall River and ever after. Thank you very much.
This Veterans Day parade footage was provided by Fall River Government Television. That's it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m., but our online news site is available 24/7 at frcmedianews.org. Until next Thursday, we leave you tonight with this footage of Fall River's Veterans Day Parade, again filmed by our sister station, FRG TV, who was live at the scene in downtown Fall River.